Notre Dame shuts out Boise State in the second half, winning 28-7 at Notre Dame Stadium. Tim Prister amid 24 combined penalties and a exactly even 112 penalty yards apiece. But other than that, I think Notre Dame proved to be the stronger team today. You have some thoughts on Boise State's offense, of course. We has averaging over 500 yards in the last 3 games, but today Notre Dame made them look like the lesser foe.
No, they really did. And, I give a lot of credit to Maddox Madsen. He's a gamer, and he keeps challenging you the whole way. But, don't look now, and I know a lot of people don't want to admit this, but the Notre Dame defense has looked a lot like last year's defense in like 14 of the last 16 quarters. Still give up too many yards rushing to please everybody, although they handled the running backs pretty well. But this was a team, like you said, Tim, 520 yards. And to your credit, you said it during the game, this is not a legit 520-yard offense outside of the Mountain West Conference. But Notre Dame, that's the opponent that was on the field, and Notre Dame did a tremendous job of shutting them down, almost 200 yards under their total yard average and 31 points under their scoring average. Second straight second-half shutout in a row.
Before we get in the second-half defense, I'll remind everyone that Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis is brought to you by the RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame and Northern Indiana Event Center in beautiful Elkhart, Indiana, which is just that way, Tim Priester. The second half, odd 5 possessions for Boise State. Notre Dame forced a punt, but then 2 turnovers on downs were bookended by 2 interceptions. Leonard Moore had 2 picks on the day. He had 1 in the second half. Luke Talich having a pass defense turned into a pick. We asked Leonard Moore, is this reminding you of last year's defense? He said, I don't want to bring up last year because it's different guys. But this was I don't know why I didn't give him enough credit for the Arkansas defense, because Arkansas has a better offense than Boise State, as we discussed as well. This was a time where I felt like things never got loose for Notre Dame defensively. If you consider one night well-called bootleg on 4th and goal from the 1-yard line, the only play where he looked like terrible busts, this is Notre Dame's best defensive effort, despite the fact that Arkansas probably has a better offense.
Yeah, they do, and I made some mention about the Boise State skill position guys, but they're not in that class. But, I guess, Tim, you've mentioned how many times in a row they haven't held on 3rd and short.
Yeah, it's 0 for 10 on 3rd and short when the other team runs the ball, and that included that touchdown. That's something they'll have to address. But when you're giving up 7 points a game to Boise State, it's a little different.
That's exactly right. And it just gives this whole defense and Chris Ash and Marcus Freeman, the whole defensive staff, a chance to get their footing a little bit, again, and have confidence in what they're doing. It sure heck helps having Leonard Moore back there. We were speculating, okay, he'll get a few plays this week and really get his feet wet next week, and he's ready to go against USC. But Leonard Moore is not your average football player. 2 interceptions, 6 solo tackles, a fumble forced. He was tremendous. But they're doing great, and I don't want to, like CJ, I don't want to diminish too much from the offense, but the offense should have scored more in the first half, and we're really held down yardage-wise in the second half. So we were so used to Notre Dame fans were so used to being upset with the defense when things weren't going well. It was actually the offense that the 4th and 1 call on the opening drive. Is it really necessary when you have what you have up front to have a CJ Carr as your lead blocker? Apparently Mike Denbrock said that there wasn't a fit that was proper. I get that. But they spun their wheels a little bit in the first half and a little bit in the second half, but scored enough. And still won by 3 touchdowns because the defense was able to keep a ton of respect for Maddox Madsen. The kid is just a gamer, and he keeps going for it. But he didn't hurt him, and the running backs didn't hurt him, and except for one 37-yard reception, there was no other pass over 20 yards.
And, if C.J. Carr is going to have an off day, it happened on a day where he did not turn the ball over. He was not sacked. He didn't throw an interception. I was talking to a couple subscribers over here. They were worried C.J. Carr didn't have a good day. He was off. He missed Will Pauling for an easy 4th down touchdown. You cannot miss that.
That's a breakaway layup that he missed. He
knows that. But when you're going to have a bad day if you're C.J. Carr, and it's no turnovers, you're doing your job as Notre Dame's quarterback, because he gets to turn around and hand the ball to, as he said, the 2 best running backs in the country. It's definitely the best tandem, Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. Price had the highlight reel. Again, that wasn't Arkansas quitting. It was Boise State trying to tackle him, but they couldn't on a 49-yard touchdown run. I think they combined for 188 rushing yards. Yeah. Jeremiah Love also had a first down catch. Jordan Faison continues his ascent. 6 first down catches for Faison today.
That's what he had last week.
It's the second time in a row he has led Notre Dame in first downs. Tim Priester, I would not have predicted that from Jordan Faison, the playmaker, not the volume player.
No, he's breaking tackles, and we talked about him having to get stronger, and he certainly has done that. And, again, we always share what we talk about during the game, and it was a play or two when I said to you, Well, Lover Price is going to break off a 48-yard
Right.
run, and it was 46.
Yeah,
it was 2 plays later. I think it was 2 yards off, and that was. I mean, I want to go back and count how many missed tackles there were, but you know what? Not missed tackles, tackles broken is what it was.
There were 4, and we asked Jadarian Price.
Seemed like more.
They were asked Jadarian Price about that, and he said, I led the country in missed tackles force last year, yards after contact last year, and he said every once in a while jokes, I kind of want to touch somebody as I'm running through the line of scrimmage because then it's yards after contact. I've contacted someone, and then I keep going. Price is a joy to have in the post-game press conferences now.
He's a bright kid. He's really impressive.
8 carries. It's just they can't get them both the ball enough. And you know why, though, today when everybody is going to want to complain, we were complaining during the game, not enough touches going around. They only had the ball 24 minutes. The one thing the defense did was allow some conversions for Boise State, as there was a drive of 8 plays, 9 plays, and 10 plays in the second half, and that allows Boise State to possess the ball, and Notre Dame just didn't get it as much offensively.
Yeah, and just going to jump back to what you talked about right off the top. Notre Dame had 118 penalty yards coming into the game, and they had 112 tonight. That's just not an enjoyable game to watch. I'm not saying the officials were wrong.
Well, it was even, so.
Well, yeah, we'll have to take a look at it, but it's not a very fun way to watch a football game, and it's amazing it was a 3-hour and 16-minute game when there were 24 flags thrown.
I do want to mention Will Pauling because he called a 2-point conversion, and when it was a competitive game, he made a key third down conversion catch, and he made a catch that C.J. Carr later said that is JG's route, Jaden Greathouse's route. We know Will Pauling's a really good route runner. His emergence the last 2 games is important for the passing game, I think, especially if there's a lingering. It's now a thigh injury, not hamstring, I guess, for Greathouse is what's listed.
Okay. So now we've obviously Pauling was emphasized, and we're really getting an opportunity to see the guy from 2 years ago at Wisconsin when he caught, I think, 74 passes. He's a volume receiver. I've said that way too many times. I realize that, but that's what he is, and he gets open. And boy, he was hoping he should have had another touchdown pass. Obviously, as I say, the times that C.J. Carr will miss on that pass, we're going to be able to count on 2 fingers, maybe 3 fingers during the time he's still here at Notre Dame.
The defense is obviously the most improved since the Texas A&M game, but one final shout out. I couldn't figure out my offensive MVP. I'm going to the offensive line for no sacks allowed. 6.7 yards per carry, so that makes 6.7.
So much for the
adjusted as well.
So much for the pressure defense that we were expecting. They picked it up really well. And Carr he avoided some sacks, and he keeps getting better and better with his feet in and around the pocket.
Tim Priester has snap judgments. I have a notebook. There'll be a game story from Drew Mentalk, and also join John Bryce and Drew Mentalk with Irish Illustrated Overtime. That is in progress now. Until we see you Monday, Notre Dame 28, Boise State 7. And this has been brought to you by the RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame and Northern Indiana Event Center in Elkhart, Indiana.